can I have another wine?
You're listening to the Giggle Gang podcast.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
If you want it, just come get it.
A Giggle Gang podcast.
Just be myself.
For fuck's sake.
You know, sometimes people pay me to say ridiculous shit, and sometimes I just say it for free.
That's hectic.
You're listening to the Giggle Gang podcast.
The swimsuit one was the first photos that they took.
So there was many different outfits.
Oh yeah. There was
How long were you there for?
It was me and my friend both did it together. We were there, my friend Machano. Hey Machano, I love you.
G'day Machano.
We were there for about 2-3 hours.
Okay.
So like an hour and a half each, including getting our makeup done and stuff. So then went from the swimsuit one to lingerie, to a different form of lingerie, to like a white nightie, then to my own lingerie, and then to nude.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was a real progression up the chain of intensity.
Yeah, and they had different backgrounds everywhere as well. Like there's one point where I look like I'm like a 1950s housewife at like her dressing table with like perfumes and stuff, and then I'm in front of a flower wall in another one, and then I'm on like this big like canopy bed, and then I'm on this like chaise lounge that looks like I'm about to do like Partition by Beyonce.
What's a chaise lounge?
It's one of those that's got like an arm as a curl and then it just flattens out.
Okay.
Do you know those fancy ones in like hotel lobbies and stuff?
I still don't know
with
what it
like
is.
Pillows that are like only one pillow, and it's usually like a cylindrical pillow, and then the arm of the chair is like a curl.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It was this motion that really got me.
Thank you, I'm so glad. I knew I'm so expressive and creative. I knew I could get you there.
That's so good to hear. Well, you are Anna Spark.
Thank you.
This is the Giggle Gang podcast.
It is?
I don't usually do these like
I thought this
things.
was Joe Rogan.
No,
Fuck,
you're not good enough.
Neither are you.
What's the tattoo?
Oh, that says kindness in my handwriting to remind me to be nice to myself, and then through like that I can be better to others.
Is that why I can't understand what it says? Because you have messy handwriting. Did you draw it on yourself?
No. Well, I wrote down loads of different. I wanted it to look kind of like a heartbeat, so that's why it's very like. But if people can't read it and I can't be bothered, I just tell them it says Kardashian. And the look of horror on their faces is so satisfying. And then I just leave it. I'm like, it's Kardashian.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to go get a G&T.
Bye.
Oh my God.
Be a bitch.
We're in a Sainsbury's. What does she mean?
This is a daycare centre. What's she talking about?
She's the teacher.
You think it could be a daycare centre teacher?
Not a daycare. Maybe a nightcare. I'd be a fun nightcare teacher. Alright kids, we're going out. There's a difference between a Skittle bomb and a Jaeger bomb. Does anyone know that? Tommy, you're already drunk. Love it. 4-year-olds are lightweights. More for me.
Paul, you've been misbehaving. You're doing lines. The bag's in the corner.
Little does he know.
And I don't want to look at you until you can't look at me.
Yeah. And their lines are kept because you need to pass the fuck out.
I need to put you down. Imagine a teacher that can like administer drugs to control behaviours of their students.
I know, it's almost as crazy as them arming teachers in the US.
Really?
Well, they're thinking about doing that.
You think that's crazy though?
Yeah. That's
Why?
Stupid. Well, like, one, teachers are qualified to be teachers. They are not pharmacists. So they don't have enough knowledge to drug another human being. On top of that, they're not their children. Okay. They're just minding them. So they should. When I was in primary school in England, this was when they were still trying to figure out what the fuck was wrong with me. Turns out I'm just fabulous, and I've got hypothyroidism,
and I've got many illnesses,
many conditions that just culminate in me being fucking fabulous.
I'm very broken.
Inside and out. But yeah, they were supposed to give me meds for this like infection that I had in my chest because it was like an autoimmune disorder causing the hypothyroidism, so my immune system was fucked. And the lady gave me the wrong drugs one time, and then another time she refused to give them to me because she thought she told me no kid gets sick this often, you must be faking. So she refused to give me my antibiotics. which my mum lost it.
Who was the
over-
woman? A teacher or a doctor?
Well, it was like a teacher receptionist.
Oh right, so the medication was at school. You were going to like the office.
Yeah,
being
lunchtime I'd pop over.
Yeah,
try
I need to get my medication. I don't feel well.
She
And
told me no kid's sick this often. You're faking it. And
Really?
it's actually, there's plenty of kids that get sick this often. Usually what you call them is sick kids
Yeah.
that are fully sick, bro.
The kids who are sick.
Yeah, so that's when I thought about shooting up the school.
Whoa. So that leads nicely on to why don't you think they should arm teachers in America?
Because, like, imagine how annoying children are. And, like, there are some teachers that hate their job. This was not their plan A. This wasn't even their plan B. They've just got to do it now because they aren't good enough for the rest of the world. If you can't do, teach. And if you can't teach, shoot them up. Like, why would you arm a teacher that's not only overworked, they're exhausted. Like, in a country that's renowned for its lack of mental health awareness, and renowned for its lack of, like, self-control as each individual, like, it's just a terrible idea.
So don't you think that possibly there is the exact same chance of a teacher shooting up a school now than if they're armed? Because they can do it just as easily now.
I think it will, any time you introduce a weapon to an area, you heighten the chance of that weapon being used.
Okay.
So if you're actually knowingly bringing a gun into a school rather than someone sneaking the gun in, you are knowingly putting every day at a higher chance of that gun being used than it would if it wasn't there. So logic says yes.
Right, okay. No, that's fair enough. I'm just getting distracted by what's happening outside because a bunch of fire engines and ambulances.
I spotted a fire before, guys, because I am basically the human embodiment of a fire hawk. I wanted to use it to catch my prey, but Maddie said we should just let the fire brigade deal with it.
Yeah, and there is legitimately a fire going on in Manchester City right now.
There's at least, out of those 12 firemen, there's at least 8 men that I would find attractive.
Right.
Just because of the fact that they're firemen and they're under the age of 40. That's my breaking point, that's it.
Really? So a 39-year-old fireman is like, that's doing it for you.
I've got an ex that's 39, he's 41 now, actually.
He was 39 when I was with him.
But he's emotionally, like, 72, because the amount I aged him in now 5 months. I really put him through a ringer. No, to be honest, he put me through a ringer. It's fine.
We're not talking about relationships today, Anna.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about fun things, right?
Right.
And I want to talk to you about your life and what you were like at school, because I feel like we've had this conversation, right? And you said that you were bullied and then you became the bully, right? So, how...
I think I'd like to reword that, though, to be honest, on reflection.
Go for it.
I don't think I became the bully. I became the bitch that would be a bitch to you. If they started something with either me or my friend, then I would end up taking it further than what they'd started to scare them off from doing it again.
Yeah, you did say me or my friend. Did that imply that...
Friends, sorry.
Oh, right, okay.
I had 2.
Good. Did you have like a big like girl gang and you guys would all just like be girls together?
I was what my mum called a floater.
Oh, yes, I was the same.
Yeah, I always found that annoying because it sounded like I was a turd, which I am, but I didn't need it shoved in my face every day.
Mum, stop putting poo in my face.
Learn how to cook. And fix the goddamn toilet.
That's like the worst insult you can have for a parent is, oh, Mum, this is gross. Learn how to cook.
It's genuinely feces, Mum.
Because when you're like 7, you've got no idea how to do anything, but you've got the gall to sit there and be like, oh, Mum, learn how to cook, you fucking idiot.
I hate spaghetti carbonara.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, when people have like at least... My sister used to say that she was vegetarian except she liked sausages and bacon. And we're like, so you're picky. Don't try and make it out as though you're making a moral stance when you'll have any form of sausage.
But she... the ironic thing is that she didn't even pick the best times to
I
make.
know! Well, I'm like, I'll have the lamb chops. She's like, no. I'm like, I'll have the seafood now. But I will have mediocre bacon and a Sainsbury's sausage.
Sausages. I do bloody love sausages,
Oh,
though.
mate, that's something I haven't had in a while.
Is this Aussie?
Genuinely meant bangers and mash, but we can talk about bangers and smash.
You need to stop.
Okay, so school floater, yeah. So I had about a group for every day of the week. So and also this is where I think I started to learn to become a comedian because each group had a different sense of humor. One group was Greek, and they didn't even really speak English that often. They could speak English fluently, but they just found it easier to talk to each other in Greek. So I'd try and figure out what they were saying, and then occasionally when we started talking in English, I knew that they liked really dry one-liner shit or really slapstick stuff. So I'd alternate between those two to make them laugh. And then if I went to the popular girls, they really liked it if you could read them. You know what I mean? Like a kind of banter that almost bitchy. But like,
so you'd like rip on them for banter, but then like they wanted to hear the truth.
Well, because they're all these girls that are way hotter and skinnier than me, so they're aware that I don't have a leg to stand on. But so I just do like snide, like smart aleck remarks, and they just fucking loved it.
Like, Sabrina, your shoes look great.
or like they'd be talking about like something that they did at a party recently, and I'm like
something crazy.
Oh my god, you managed to hook up with a guy? I didn't expect it with a mug like yours. Stuff like that, where they'd be like, whoa. And then they also really liked like, what was it? Oh yeah, Tash and Ricky would always kind of like jump on me, especially if there was mud.
I jump on top of you.
Yeah, because I was like really big and I was really curvy, so
very physical friendship.
Yeah, a lot of my friends found it really funny if I fell over. So they.
I would still find that funny if you.
Yeah.
When was the last time you fell over?
Oh my god, it happens so often.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you never fall over around me?
I'm on edge.
I'll push you.
I know. That's why I can't show weakness around here.
Do you really feel like that? No. Is that why you always act so weird?
Just like, stay still, stay near a wall, stay near a banister.
Are you ever paranoid that like possibly that people... No.
So I am.
Don't be paranoid about that. It's so
literally
frequent.
On the way here I was watching where I was going.
Really?
I just have to keep an eye because I've got weak ankles. I've fallen over that often. I'm just like, watch the ground. It's different, like a half a centimetre of difference in ground. If I hit it wrong, I'll just fall like a sack of shit.
That is so funny.
Why
do I never get to see that?
The first time I ever wore my jeans, I went out that day and fell straight on my knees and just sat on the ground like that for a couple of minutes like I was praying, and my friend's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I just know what I've done. I've fucked up my jeans I bought yesterday, and I fucked up my knee. It does look good though. Yeah, my mum fixed it for me. She's a legend.
It looks cool. You're so hard to interview though, because I get halfway through asking you a question and then you just take it with your own mad story.
I'm sorry, I'm fabulous. I don't know. No, go on.
What I was trying to ask was, do you ever get nervous that possibly your personality and your persona forces somebody else to make them feel like they can't be their real self? Like you just said, around me you're on edge, which is obviously a joke, right? But do you ever get nervous that maybe you put someone else on edge and they don't behave the way they would actually behave around you because of who you are?
I was actually thinking this on the bus yesterday.
Here we go.
Where I was like, wonder what I'm like to be around, because then a lot of people...
Painful.
Yeah, thank you. A lot of people can react to me in a defensive way, which always confuses me, because I know in my head the tone of which I'm thinking that I'm saying something is not how, when it's explained to me later, it came across. And I can understand how sometimes people can interpret me differently. But I think that I am this really warm, friendly person that people get along with. And more often than not, that is true, because people do say to me they find themselves very comfortable around me. But then also, I can switch very cold if I don't like someone. And it takes a lot for me to change my opinion on that. If I've decided there's something there that doesn't gel well with me. And today, I felt bad. Like this was like, I thought of this yesterday. But then even today I was working with someone who jars me a little bit. He kind of gets on my nerves slightly, and I just wasn't engaging with him because he'd say unnecessary things. And in hindsight, he's just cut from a different cloth. Like, in a bit of a weird way, but he doesn't mean any harm. So I wish I had more patience where I could
he's
just
just a little
humour him.
weirdo, basically.
Yeah, like
Okay.
he's got a fucking like cartoon Japanese girl as his background on his phone, and he tried to bring up D&D with me and stuff. And
What's
normally
D&D?
Dungeons and Dragons. Normally I'd happily talk about that stuff with a friend because I do actually find that game fascinating. Oh shit. But I didn't want to engage. Oh no, don't break. Okay. I didn't want to engage with him because I knew that it wasn't going to be like me and you talking about doing a podcast version of D&D. It's going to be him telling me about his fucking nerd friends sitting in a basement, and he was like, oh, and sometimes we drink beer, and it's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
That sounds crazy.
yeah, holy crap. How many? Do you have like 2 or 3? Like, what's going on? Share a 4-pack between 7. How do you manage?
That was so Australian. How do you manage?
And it's like, to me, I just kind of go short answers, straight ahead.
Do you feel like you're being horrible to him because he's cut from a different cloth, though?
I don't
Or is he
know. Well,
just
only
painful?
later on when I look back at my behaviour do I realise I was kind of being horrible. But in my eyes, I'm being nice because for me to actually voice how I really feel, that would be mean. But then I forget that there's this other option of just being nice.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So do you feel like he, from his point of view, right, finds it hard to gel with you, or he just wants to be your mate so fucking
I
bad?
think he just want to be friendly with everyone. And then he started complaining about getting anxiety and he needed to go out. And I was like, you do you, hun. Like, I'm just going to stay on the stand. But we fundraise and stuff. So I'm just like, I'll just stay here. It's fine. You take your own time. But then only later on when I look back on it, I'm like, I hope it wasn't me just concentrating on my job rather than social interaction that made him feel anxiety. I don't think it would have, because I wasn't mean to him at all. I wasn't rude or snappy. I just went, yeah, okay, all right, cool. Just like politely kind of declined to continue that conversation just because I wanted to like keep an eye on the people and chat to people, see if I could get them signed up and all this stuff. And it did make me wonder even more so about how I come across to other people, because some people have told me that I've intimidated them in some way, which is never my intention. I intimidate you? No, that's bullshit. I do not intimidate you. See, maybe it's a reaction like that.
Someone says, Anna, when we last spoke, I felt a little bit intimidated. And you were like,
Fuck off, mate.
Fuck off.
No.
No way.
No fucking chance.
Me? Intimidating? What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. And it's like, I think I'm being funny, or I think I'm just being like straight or fierce or whatever the fuck.
Fabulous.
But maybe I'm just a bit of a bitch. I do have very little patience.
How often do you take time to like self-reflect, or is it a constant state of self-reflection that then makes you anxious?
Oh, hi, how are you? Yes, option number 2, please.
Right. So like, do you ever self-reflect in a non-anxious way?
Yes.
Okay.
I do kind of go like, all right, that can be done differently, or self-reflect in a positive way where it's like, you did really well at how you prepared for that, and you did everything that you should have done, which you didn't do last time, so you have learned from your mistakes and you're moving forward and that kind of stuff. And then something was like, yeah, but that 4th joke didn't really land, did it? But like, yes, you're terrible at this job, you should probably quit it forever. Why are you even doing this? This is terrible. No one's ever going to really enjoy your comedy, and no one's ever really going to care about you anyway, so just fucking become a teacher, because who gives a shit? And then I have a glass of wine and watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians or RuPaul's Drag Race and judge them.
I really like RuPaul's Drag Race, and
Oh
I
my
didn't
God,
think
it's so
I
good.
would.
Are you on the current season?
I think. Ask Hazel. I don't
Season
know.
one,
She just
season-
puts it on. It just appears, and I'm always like, ooh.
Is it Silky Ganache?
Yeah.
Don't like her one
Don't
bit.
like Silky. No way. Let's have a Drag Race chat.
Oh my God. Okay, for anyone that doesn't watch it, watch it.
Spoiler alert.
It's so good.
Devastated plastic tiara went home.
Oh, really? Because I
Oh.
thought, like, look, okay, pretty, but all her outfits are rented, so that's not really showing proper creativity.
What do you mean rented? What do you hang
Well,
on.
you know how amazing her catwalk things are?
Yeah.
They're designed, she's rented them for the show. Yet there are other people that have made their pieces.
Brooklyn makes her pieces.
Exactly. Brooklyn or Evie Oddly should win, in my opinion. I think Evie Oddly would push the drag art form forward, just like the last queen, not the last queen, sorry, but like for example, Sharon Needles from a few seasons earlier, season 4.
I've not watched
like,
any other season.
Oh, okay. Well, that was like 12 seasons ago. But she was one of the first like gothic queens, and then I think her name was like Portia or something like that. There was another one.
You don't have to say the correct name because
anyway,
I don't know.
I think drag queens, the drag superstar should actually push drag and inspire people to accept other forms of drag. It doesn't have to always be pageant girls. It can be women that can become a gothic or but Brooklyn, there's something about Brooklyn that she's like a new modern drag queen. Yeah, Evie Oddly is this new kind of unique form of drag. So they both have a good point of being represented. It's just Evie Oddly would push the cloth a little bit more, but I think Brooklyn, she's more polished to push it. Yeah.
Interesting. I've never looked at drag this much. I just like the entertainment.
But it's an art form. It's crazy, and it's also like female impersonation they're an incredibly creative group of people that do drag. And when I first started going to the gay village, when I was working at my last job, and I was friends with a couple of gay guys, and I hung out with them more than my comedy mates at this point. So we went to the gay village all the time. They were terrible influences for my substance abuse. But I learned a lot about drag, and I remember we went to a couple of parties and stuff, and there was just drag queens everywhere, and it was like you've never been to a party until there's at least 6 drag queens there. Okay,
I've been to a lot of parties, Anna.
Yeah.
I'll have you know.
Yeah, but no, it's like we went to this dirty warehouse. Like you had to drive down this shifty ass driveway, and then suddenly it like explodes with light. There's all this light shining out of this derelict fucking warehouse, and there's just drag queen after drag queen after gay guy after drag queen after trans person. There was like this punk kind of modern artwork band playing, and like all these people getting on stage, and they kept on having to get pushed off by these like naked writhing drag queens while they're like doing a show, getting covered in paint. And the bar was inset into the ground. So it was just like the entrance to the basement, and they just kind of set up a table. So the girl was standing on a table, and you could only really you had to get down on the floor and talk to her from the edge of the floor into this pit, and she'd get you your drink for you. And there was all these couches everywhere and stuff. And it was just the weirdest party. It was so much fun. And but anyway, basically, when I first got confronted with drag ages ago, before this even happened, I kind of was a little bit upset in a jealous way, because there are some drag queens that I think have being a woman more down pat than stereotypically down pat than I do. And I envy them because they just look so phenomenal and amazing. And also I'm tall as well, so to see these drag queens that tower over these people and don't give a fuck, and I was like jealous.
Yeah.
And then eventually studying drag more, I can't remember who said it, but one drag queen said darling, we don't hate women, we worship them. And it was this old concept of the fact that like the reason why they turn themselves into women is because they think we're wonderful, and they would, not in a transgender way, they just love the idea of temporarily getting to be us. And it was just so interesting. And also even watching like RuPaul's Drag Race, when they occasionally have challenges where they have to teach, they get random men, like army men or dads or whatever, that aren't contestants, but the contestants then have to put them in drag and teach them how to do drag. Suddenly realize how, to an art form, they have it. They're even trying to show the men how to walk in heels, and a standard man will not know how to impersonate a woman walking in heels. It's not just walking down the street. You've got to get this swizzle to your hips, and you've got to get your feet in the right direction where you're carrying your body weight differently.
Is it something that you have to think about as an aspire? How to walk in heels?
No, I can walk normally, but then I can get this power stride on where I feel like really quite powerful and
a boss
sexy.
bitch.
Yeah, but it's like, I know for a fact that if I tried to get you to do that walk, you wouldn't be able to, because you got to get. You want to do it? Well, should we after the podcast? I'll video it and we can add it to your fucking.
Which heels have I got?
You can put these on. What size of feet are you?
I'm pretty big, like 11 and a half, 12.
You're not going to fit in these.
Yeah, that's my way I can get out of it. Is I'll be like, I'll be awesome walking in heels, but I know that they don't make heels that I would ever fit.
No, they do for Drag Race. It's called Iron Fist Shoes. RuPaul makes a line of shoes for men.
looks like
You know,
I'm walking in
We
heels.
should do a YouTube video where I try and put you in drag.
I'm such a pretty girl.
I know you would be.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to do drag makeup. We would also have to glue your eyebrows down and like draw new eyebrows on, because that's the one defining factor that if men forget to do it if they're doing drag, they just look like a man in makeup. But if you get a glue stick and glue your eyebrow hair down, and then we draw your eyebrows on again, because girls have a higher brow.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yeah, like guys have this more kind of like, whereas girls have more, there's more of a bow to it, and they've got more open, big eyes.
Oh yeah, I can even feel it like there, like looking at yours, there's not much space between there and there, but you've got a bit more space.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've never thought about it.
Yeah.
Question for you though.
Go for it.
This might be selfish, sexist, or whatever,
Whatever.
right? Is there male drag where women want to dress up as men?
Yeah, drag kings.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, that is a thing. It's much less common, but it is a thing. So yeah, you can have male impersonators. It's just not as sexy because you guys aren't that hot.
Yeah, like what would they dress up as? Like what would...
They'd either do
I think-
like a celebrity, or they would do just a version of themselves. I've performed at a feminist mass. It was called. It was like a feminist Christmas. Excuse you having a go at me for turning my phone on silent.
You just plugged your phone in, that's why it beeped.
Oh shit, sorry, that's my bad. Anyway, so so it was like this feminist show that I did a few years ago. It was my first ever paid gig. $100 for 5 minutes. So
$100 for 5 minutes. Damn, the LBGT community are loaded.
LGBTQ, the alphabet community.
Sorry, yes. The rainbow community.
I can say that because I am part of it. So don't fucking hate on me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they had a drag king for that. It's
interesting.
This girl dressed as a guy doing some like country songs and kind of pretending to be like this slightly kind of sexist but also kind of handsome man. It was really funny.
I just think I feel like dressing up as a bloke is so one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Like there's not really an awful lot that you can do with it. Whereas ladies, the opportunities are endless.
Yeah.
Men are so lucky.
I
have
feel like
women
it's the
in the world.
opposites. Oh right, okay. Because I was gonna say I love the fact that as a woman I can change my hair colour to any colour I want. I can wear a dress, skirt, shorts, pants, romper, whatever the fuck.
I don't even know what a romper is.
Like a play suit.
Oh right, okay.
I can do whatever, and men are very limited. But if they do start to engage in fashion, then they can be seen as gay or kind of girly, and which is sad because obviously that's not the case. There are many men that are just very fashion forward, and also who cares if they're gay? But it's just it's a little bit sad where you guys if you wear a skirt, you'd have to be a very fucking confident man to get away with a skirt, and you're not gonna have every woman fancy you because of it.
Are you saying I should wear a skirt?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what it takes. I don't know what we're trying to achieve.
Don't you reckon we should do a YouTube video where we try and put you in drag and then we'll take you to Gay Village?
Yeah.
That would be so much fun.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, maybe I could actually get in contact with a drag queen I used to hang out with or something and get them to do your makeup, and then we can talk to GAY and get it filmed so it's an experience of a straight man trying to understand this world a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm interested. I met someone, so I was in GAY 2 weeks ago, and I met a lovely lady, and she was... I can't remember the exact details, whether she was mid-transition or she was in drag. I can't fucking remember. I can't remember.
Well, I met a transgender male and he showed me his new penis that was made out of skin from his arm.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
It was crazy. It was really fleshy because obviously there's really nothing going on in that. And they said he said there was some sensitivity. They'd moved some of the clit towards the penis end, but it was he had to get it hard, he had to inject something into it or something like that would filter out naturally or something like that. But it's like,
what did it look like?
it looked like you just kind of grabbed the fatty bit of your arm, molded that into what vaguely might look like a penis, and put.
So it looks nothing like a penis.
Yeah, because like you know how a flaccid penis, his flaccid penis was the size of a big thick penis, but then with the skin of your forearm, and floppy, more floppy.
How much did you touch
penis.
it?
I didn't touch it, but he moved it around, and I could tell that wasn't like. For a penis to be that big, but then squidgy, and it looked disfigured.
So what did his arm look like?
Like he had some bandages on it because it's like constant skin grafts that they do.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and they said he said they took some from his thigh as well, and then they took some fat from somewhere else to give it. So look, please don't take this word for word gospel as the surgery, because it was 7 a.m. when he was showing it to me, and I was very, very fuck-eyed. But I remember it's definitely skin grafts, definitely saw his penis, but I don't know whether they got fat from somewhere else. That's a vague memory.
Definitely saw his penis. I've seen transfer. I'd be very interested.
And what was even more interesting is the girlfriend he had, they got together when he was a woman as a lesbian couple. Really? And she was struggling with the fact that he was now a man, because suddenly that doesn't bode well with her sexuality, yet it was the same person that she'd fallen in love with.
Interesting. I want to get into more details about someone that we both know that is in that exact same situation, but I won't. All I will say is that if you are in a relationship with someone and at the time that you fall in love, that's what you signed on for, okay? If that person then decides to go through a transition, you are completely within your right to be like, this is not the relationship I signed on for. What I don't agree with is staying in that relationship and trying to get that person to go back to what you came for. 100%. Because that's not fair.
No.
That's not fair
not at all. It's terrible. Like, why would you want to do that to someone that you supposedly love? Like, why? Like, if you see them finally, if you're not attracted to them after, yes, that's going to hurt. And they even say that some people that witness the people that they love going through transgender, there is a form of grieving that the loved ones go through, because they do have to say, it's your brother. You do have to say goodbye to your brother and say hello to your sister. You do have to actually let go of that entire personality. It wasn't personality so much, but like there's certain aspects that come with when someone's...
The persona.
Yeah. Like if I transitioned to a male, there would definitely be my core personality is there, but the stuff that I do to feel and be womanly wouldn't be there anymore. So it's like they say, it's also like, you know, if you call someone of the name of their gender, it's dead naming them.
Dead naming, I know. So explain, so it's a dead name once
that person's dead. They're not that person anymore.
You know, you can get like kicked off Twitter and Facebook if you dead name someone.
Yeah, because it's a really it's a traumatic thing to bring up for someone, because in reality they didn't pick to have this life where they had to reassign themselves to what felt like natural to them and what is natural to them. So suddenly you're trying to bring up this past. It is a really horrific thing to intentionally do to someone. Like I did have a friend who is transgender say to me kind of like side going, well, like I called them their name and they said, well, you know, that's not actually my name. And I said, yes, it is your name. You don't have to like obviously it's not the name that your parents picked out for you when you were born, but it's your name. Like you have just as much as right to call it your name as you did the other one. So why would you don't have to justify it to me. Do you know what I mean? So maybe I'm not a bitch. No, I'm just kidding, I definitely am.
Kindness. So let's talk about Australia.
Yeah.
Alright, because I fucking miss
it.
Oh my god, me too.
Yeah.
When was the last time something happened to you and you were like, oh, Australia?
Today with the gum tree. Where I was working at a I forgot that I told you that off recording. I was working at a garden store and I was standing there in the sunlight and I just suddenly thought that I was tripping. And it took me a good solid minute to go, no, that is a eucalyptus. And then I double checked with the guy that worked there and he's like, yeah, we've got 3, and he pointed them all out and I was just like, it's so lovely. And he's like, they shed a lot. I'm like, they're just trying to start bushfires. They keep little trees. Look at them trying to ruin your fucking building. Oh.
There's no bushfires here, mate. Although the fire situation, it looks like it has slowed down.
The firemen aren't there anymore, unfortunately.
So when I was away in Spain over the weekend, we met up with this couple that were from Australia, and we'd been sitting with them for maybe 3 minutes, right? One of the blokes' names was Byron as well, which is just like classic Aussie name, right? And in the space of 3 minutes, right, the bird was called her fiance a douchebag, right, which I haven't heard in ages, and then said, "These cocktails are heaps good." And I was like, oh my god,
yes, I love it. That's like trying to tell people what fuck-eyed means.
Yeah. They just don't know.
Yeah.
So, like, I know you were born in England. No,
I was born in Australia.
Born in Australia. Spent some time in England?
Yeah, 4 till 11 years old.
Okay.
Well, 2 till 3, then 4 till 11.
Right. And then went back to Australia.
Yeah.
So, like, now spending this time in England, do you feel like you're home, or is home where the family is?
Oh, it's like I am like 50-50 some days and then 70-30 other days or whatever. Like, I know that Australia is definitely where I want to grow old and I want to have children. But I do feel like England is where I make my mark and then take that mark to Australia. So I am trying to catch herpes, basically.
Okay. Good for you.
Trying. No, you know what I mean though, like career-wise, I definitely think this is the best place for me because compared to, I was doing comedy rather solidly for about 4 or 5 years in Australia, and so many comics were saying you would do so much better in the UK, and I kind of knew that they were right, but I only had I'd either have the majority of the audience kind of think I was funny, but actually no, I did have good reactions, but I definitely over here am making more legway. Like I'm getting paid gigs on the regular now, and then I'm getting recognition. People are telling me, "Oh, I've heard about you," and stuff. And I don't know whether that's the comedy culture in England, or whether it's whether it's a bit of both. But over there, I was getting not really much. I was just getting regular gigs, but none of them were paid. I occasionally get a paid gig, very rarely, like once every 3 months.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard knock life. So is now where you're at the moment? You're not looking at going back anytime soon. You know when you're done what you need to be doing here.
Yeah, no, I'm already planning like my Edinburgh show for the next one after this one.
Right.
Like I'm starting to figure out that one.
So you're really in it for the long haul. But what do you hate about England?
What do I hate about England? I don't really hate anything. I don't like the fucking repetitive shit that everyone says about Australia. And the repetitive crap that everyone like when it comes to like convicts over there, and it's like, no, 2.5% of our population is directly related to convicts. That's bullshit. And on top of that, like even just little things like, oh, chuck a shrimp on the barbie. We put king prawns on the barbecue.
We don't even call it shrimp.
Yeah, and if I gave someone a 20 pence per piece of shrimp, I didn't invite them to my barbecue. I didn't want them there. I mean, there you go, Gary, you can have that. Oh, really? Anna just says, yes, and you can get the fuck out while you're at it.
Fuck out of my backyard. Leave the VB, you cunt.
Yeah, at least ever since you cheated on Shazza, I'm not fucking having a bar of it, mate. Get the fuck out. Take your 4-door ute with you. I don't give a shit.
4-door ute? What an idiot. You pay more for that? Better not. Dick.
Holden crap.
Anyone with a 4-door ute needs to fucking drive it into a lake.
Yeah. With themselves inside it.
Get a 2-door ute, you fucking idiot. You and the fucking dog up the front.
The Kelpie.
I was literally about to say, a fucking Kelpie. No way. Literally just the most Aussie dog there is. And what do you love about England?
The people, for sure. The people and Well, I like the drinking culture, but that's in the same in Australia. But I like...
It's the same for some.
I like how just the throwaway lines that English people give away, it's like they're all kind of part comedian without even realising it. Like, I remember one time at my old job, I had this post-it that I was trying to attach to a book that I was had a question on it that I needed to ask this guy, and it kept on falling off my book. And the guy just went, "It's got legs, that." Just like it was nothing. And I'm just like finding it so funny, and he's just like carrying on typing on his computer. It's got legs. The idea of a post-it having legs just tickled me. And like, even just like, there's certain phrases that people use, like, "Oh, that bar's so gross, you've got to wipe your feet on the way out." Like that just, even that idea, that's just a common saying, and they just say it like it's whatever.
They love it.
Yeah, most of the conversations that I eavesdrop on in England, they're saying the funniest crap and not reacting to it because they're so used to funniness.
Do you feel like, as well, because they came up with the language, it's probably, good that they've learned how to master it, but they've mastered it in some ways, but definitely not others.
Yeah, and I think coming up with the language is a bit of a stretch. To be honest, when you look at English, it's really a medley of loads of languages that they were being forced to learn. And they went, instead of learning them all individually, let's just fucking put them together because I can't be asked. And then make those guys learn this one.
Yeah. Have you looked much into like the history of England? Have you been to like Warwick Castle and all those exciting places?
I haven't been to Warwick Castle, but I learned English history in primary school over here. So I did learn a few about like Henry VIII, like Henry Tudor was definitely one of my favourites. And then
favourite what?
Kings.
Okay, right.
Just not because he was a good guy, but because he was fascinating. He was the one with the six wives. You can tell he's, like I said, sing instead of six. So I'm just going to have another sip of red wine.
Yeah, and it's fucked for those of you that are listening, but you guys get the privilege of knowing exactly what was going to be expected in this podcast, because at the beginning of every show, she always says, "Can I have another wine?" And she's bought her own this week, which is nice.
Yeah, because I was like, you know what? We know it's going to happen. So let's just supply. So Henry VIII, he was the father of Anne Boleyn and Catherine of Aragon. Anne Boleyn gave birth to Elizabeth I. So Elizabeth I was the beautiful red-headed virgin queen. And then somehow, she didn't have any kids, so I don't know how they ended up trickling on down after that. Then we had Queen Victoria, the fucking legend. Like she and her husband Prince Albert were the ones that were really into the arts and crafts movement, and they were really into education. They believed everyone should get an education, and they were the ones that made it so that museums were always free. So that's why you can get into the Science Museum for free. That's why you can get into natural history, and it's always just a suggested donation if you'd like to donate. But you, because of their laws, can access that for free.
Interesting.
Yeah. Really...
I never knew this much. I asked you, do you know the history, like I sounded like I knew. I fucking didn't. No, I had absolutely no idea. Do you love museums though?
Yeah, well, I do. I like museums and art galleries. My mum and dad brought me up on that kind of stuff. So my dad's like a heritage quantities fair. So he would take me to bricklaying museums and stuff. And I thought that was normal. But...
It's not.
No, I've learned that very quickly. Like his pub trick was like, "Oh boys, look at what my daughter can do." All right, Anna, what's that? That's Edwardian rat trap with Victorian pointing, Dad. What's Edwardian rat trap, Anna? It's one layer of wall on the interior, one layer of wall on the exterior, and there's about a foot in between of mismatching bricks all the way through with gaps, and there's holes on the outside, not on the inside, so rats will go in and either get lost and die before they enter the house, or exit again and not enter the house. That's what...
This was pub trick.
Yeah, he just like telling people that I knew all of the different bricklaying designs that you could usually find in small houses, especially in Kent, in pubs like that. You'd be able to see stuff from Edwardian times and Georgian times and Victorian and Elizabethan. Elizabethan's a bit harder. They weren't that great at building stuff. Well, they were.
It was too busy singing. Wasn't Elizabethan Shakespeare?
A bit singing.
I don't know, man.
They were well, like they built really good castles, but when it came to like the standard stuff that people would live in, that was much more biodegradable situations. Like the original Globe Theatre burnt down, but there's a replica now and it's all wooden. So it's not like that stuff would really last that long over here, like for now. There's Elizabethan stuff around though. But yeah, I remember going to a museum and learning how to thatch a roof and thinking, this is interesting. And then my friends telling me, we went to the zoo or we went to this roller coaster park or whatever with our family. And I'm like, Father, is that something we have an option to do?
And he's like, thatching roofs.
And he's like, but didn't you like learning about how to make wax candles from scratch? I'm like, well, in retrospect, no. At the time, yes, it was fun, but now I know that I can get on a fucking roller coaster at Chessington. I'm not that impressed.
Nightmare of a child. I want to ask you, right, because we're talking about old things. What's the oldest thing that you own?
Ooh, Jesus, that's hard. Apart from our house back home?
No, you don't own that though. Like something that you have.
I will when they die. What's the oldest thing I own? Probably, actually, my amethyst.
You have an amethyst?
Yeah, but that is back home in Australia, but that's supposed to be it takes a long time to create an amethyst. It's like an old...
But how long have you had it for, personally?
Oh, are you asking for the oldest thing I've owned?
Yeah, like something
thought you meant how old is the object. And
no.
I'm like, I don't know, most of my shit's from Primark.
That's what I mean, like, we have this lifestyle now where just like, you just buy something for a bit and then just replace it, like a new phone every 2 years, new t-shirts every year, new socks every week,
Okay, well, when my grandma died, I asked for her hairbrush and mirror because that's what I always used to use when I stayed at her house. And they're from like the 1940s.
But how long have you had them?
I've had it since... Oh, right. Okay, yeah, keep on forgetting that part. Because I've had
You've
that
already
since
established
I was 16.
the
So I've had
amethyst.
that 10 years. But then I think, okay, so the oldest thing... I've got some toys from when I was a kid. So I would have had that for about 22 years. I like the worst things I buy is clothes, but most often when it comes to like my laptop is really old, I try and keep that good. That's probably about for a Mac laptop it's about 5 years old.
Okay.
So that's pretty good. And then my desktop at home, that's 10 years old. I know that doesn't sound like much, but
now you're just bragging that you've got old shit technology.
well, you brought it up. There's a poster in my room that my dad had framed that's a band poster blown up that his friend designed, and it says Goanna on it, and it's this Volkswagen Beetle driving around the edge of a cliff, and then there's Razor's Edge written at the bottom of it. And I got it so that I could remind my one night stands what my name was in the morning so they didn't have to freak out.
Good.
But I have had that since we moved into that house. So I've had that since I've had that for probably 11 years.
Wow. So do you still have a lot of stuff left in Australia?
Yeah, I have a whole room.
Really?
Yeah.
I have 0.
Good for you, mate.
I have nothing.
But you are a simple man of simple needs. And I am a complex woman with complex needs.
This is...
Otherwise known as high maintenance.
Otherwise known as Anna Spark.
My mum would hate it if I packed up that room entirely.
Really? Because it would mean that you were gone? Is
It
that...
would mean that I was never coming back to that room.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, my parents couldn't... So this is how eager they were to get me to go. I left like a few things in the room, and Mum was like, anything that left in that room is mine, or it's going in the bin. Like, that is the end of it. Out you go. Yeah. And I was like, okay, like it's dirty. Whatever's in there, like you can throw out and do whatever. Now, what I had done is in the top of the wardrobe, right at the back, I'd put 3 pairs of jeans, right, that I didn't want to take, and I just put them at the back, and I was like, when I come back, I'll probably want those jeans, right? Then I get over here. I did not have enough jeans for England because your jeans. Pardon me.
Jesus
your
Christ.
You're jeansing every day, right? So I like ring Mum and I was like, Mum, there's those jeans in my wardrobe. Could you just post them over to me? She was like, yeah, about those jeans. Like a week after you left, we went in and found them. So I just gave them to one of Emma's friends, which is my sister. So now one of Emma's friends' brothers or whatever is wearing my bloody clothes. And then Mum's like, oh, we'll just get you some more for your birthday. And I was like, but I could have had an actual birthday present and my jeans.
Did they really try and pass it off as a birthday present?
Yes, they sent me replacement jeans.
That's not okay.
As a birthday present.
That's
but
okay.
in their defence, they did say anything left
That's
in there
true, actually,
has been or ours.
This is your fault. It's still not okay, but it's your fault.
It's just a bit rough, you know. So that shows you how eager they were to get me out.
You know, one of my biggest regrets.
Yes. Oh, please tell me. As she just finishes the whole bottle of wine. I've never seen her so happy. Jesus.
Well, just thinking about losing things. So back when I was in high school, I found all my baby photo albums, and I put up photos of me and my sister when we were young, and like photos of me as a baby and photos of my family when they were younger, on the wall above my fireplace, and glue tacked them on. And then me and my dad agreed that I wanted to paint my room, so I took them down and I put them on my mantelpiece. They were fine. And then my dad cleared the room while I was away at camp to paint it. And him, even though he is renowned for chucking shit out, he would know by it. It wasn't in an envelope or anything. There were photos sitting there of me with my nude bum out as a little baby. They're important photos. And I have never found them again. I don't know where they are. I think about, sometimes when I'm trying to get to sleep, I just suddenly think about those photos and go, I don't know where they are. And then we've looked through the albums, and there's just these spaces in the albums where I know those were the photos I took out, and I have no clue where they've gone. I know they're probably somewhere in the house or in some fucking box in the attic or something, but I won't know until my parents die, because we'll have to clear out the whole house, and only then will I find them.
Are your parents hoarders? Do you guys have like a lot of stuff?
Yeah, but in different ways. Like, my mum is a hoarder of food, and my dad is a hoarder and collector of objects, which is a wonderful combination. He has a bullet collection.
A bullet collection?
Yeah, we don't own a gun, but we have around about 300 bullets. Different types of bullets, yeah.
Every one of them's a different type? You don't
No, he has sets of like 20 of the same that are like proper little missile ones, and he has little ones that are for like a little revolver or whatever. But he's never owned a gun. It was just back in the 60s, you could go to the milk bar, the off license for any English people listening, and buy a packet of bullets for like 20 cents. So he just did it out of interest of what they looked like and kept them. And we didn't know about them until we'd lived in this, we'd already lived in a separate house as well. This is at I'm 15 years old, and I've lived with my father my whole life. And we're going through this wardrobe, and we just find hundreds of bullets. And we're like, what the fuck?
What are you doing?
And Dad's like, I asked my bullet collection. And we're like, it's near the exit, the only exit of the house. If there's a house fire, we're more likely to get shot than we are to burn alive. Because if we're
bullets don't explode in fire.
I don't want to find out with a box of 300 of them. I don't know.
Maybe one or two, depends on the bullets
you've got 300 bullets resting next to each other. All of them have a little bit of gunpowder in each of them. And then if a raging house fire goes on, do you really want to take your chances?
Yeah, I guess. I think it's a bit of an overreaction.
I don't give a fuck. He's a hoarder.
Let your dad have your bullets.
Well, he kept his mum's ashes for like 6 years, to the point where we even had...
Why don't you scatter them? Isn't that the thing?
I finally got to convince them to do it before I moved over here, because I was like, this is the last time we're all going to be in the same country for a long time. And we had already had... So my sister's friend, her grandmother was a famous clairvoyant in Australia, and apparently Courtney had picked up some of these traits. We always thought she was kind of talking shit. And then she walked past the study in our house as she entered the house, and then came to the kitchen and just said to my parents, why have you got a bored old woman just walking around your front room? And me and my sister didn't know that that's where my grandma's ashes were. I kind of assumed, because she'd been dead 6 years, that I'd just kind of blocked out us scattering them. I didn't realise that we'd never fucking done it. And then my mum and dad kind of just went a bit white and went, that's where Marge is. And this wasn't the turning point to scatter them. This was the turning point for my dad to move the ashes from the study to under my parents' bed. My mum and Marge didn't get along very well, so she's now having to sleep above the ashes of the mother-in-law that didn't really like her that much.
What?
Yeah. And then I had a couple of times after my abortion where I would see Marge in the doorway of my parents' room in the corner of my eye.
Was she disapproving?
No, she was just there.
Okay.
And then, excuse me, I would wake up in the morning, and if I half breathed, I'd smell my mum's perfume. And so my mum said, well, if anyone's looking out for you, it's going to be the matriarchs of the family. But I didn't really clock in that, why am I smelling Polly but seeing Marge? And now looking back on it, I think it's because Polly was at rest, so it would be her kind of spirit actually choosing to come back, whereas Marge was only down the fucking hallway.
Marge is just chilling me, like, give it the fuck out.
She genuinely, so I was once having this conversation with my friend Jazz about how my dad was holding on to this so fiercely, he needs to let go. And then I was like, all right, babe, I've got to have a shower. I'll catch up with you later for drinks. Left my room, went and had a shower. And then
Marge was in the shower.
No, then I was coming back up and I was texting on my phone, and there was pure just light shining through the hallway window. There was no way for there to be a shadow. And in the peripherals up in front of me, a shadow moved through that light. It was impossible to make that shadow, and then moved into my room. And I saw in the corners of my eyes someone walk into my room, and I knew in my heart that it was Marge. So I walked into my room and was like, I'll get it sorted. I will get you scattered. Don't worry. This has gone on too long. And just please don't haunt me. Okay, I will get it sorted. And then when we went down up to Sydney for my uncle's birthday, I brought it up with them as a family discussion and was like, this needs to happen. I didn't bring up the fact that I brought it up with my auntie, but I didn't tell my uncle because he was her little boy. And I think he would have freaked out a bit. But my mum, Tess, my uncle's wife, also had a hard time with Marge. Marge was a very straight edge, harsh woman. And so both Tess and my mum empathised with each other for the stuff that they went through while having to deal with my mother-in-law, their mother-in-law. And then when my mum went, her ashes are under our bed, Tess went, Graham, it has to happen. So we did scatter her.
Oh my god! Where did you choose to do the scattering?
Went to Wollongong, took a boat out into the ocean because she was a surf lifesaver and stuff, and with frangipanis that were the flowers that she wore at her wedding, we scattered them out. I actually have this for a joke on stage, but it genuinely happened. The wind changed as it was my turn to scatter, and she got on me, so I had to dust my grandma off me into the ocean. And so I made this joke of one last hug, and then I go but the tongue kiss was a bit much. and we saw a shark swim through the ashes as we were coming back.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so she's really swimming with the fishes now.
Have you put any thought into what you want to happen when you die? This is a great way to end.
Yeah. I want to be planted under a tree.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
In the fetal position, in this, the Scandinavian countries do it. They make kind of an egg. They put the body in, and it's fertilizer for a tree, and then they plant the tree sapling, and then the tree kind of uses your decomposing body as fuel for its growth as well. And I feel like if we replaced all graveyards with forests, it would not only be amazing for the planet, but also for grieving. Every time you go back to see say your brother died when he was young, and every time you go back, the tree is bigger and stronger. It shows how much you've gone through. Mm. So I think it would be just a really beautiful way to view the human race as not these horribly depressing fucking gravestones with moss growing on them and someone's tagged on it or a dog took a shit on it or whatever. Instead, it's just this beautiful oak with a squirrel at the bottom of it and a little bird making a nest at the top, and it just shows that life's going on and you can grow from this. It's okay. It's happened now.
Do you think they can ever phase out cemeteries?
I fucking hope so. I reckon maybe...
Because they do take up so much space.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I think if we start to instill in our generation a culture where we don't need a gravestone, we need something more... Because why would you want something that's immovable, just only going to decay and look horrible, when you get something that grows? And then we've already got such an issue with lack of forests. I think honestly, if you start planting the seed of the idea in people's minds, I think any sane person, in my opinion, would rather become a tree than become burnt to ash or rotting in the ground somewhere.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
I do agree with you. My thing that I wanted to do when I pass away was to be cremated and have my ashes scattered at the beach that I basically spent my entire childhood at.
That's nice. Why don't you have a Viking funeral instead and just become fish food?
What do you mean, what's a Viking funeral?
Well, like just push yourself out on a pyre. Well, not you, obviously. You're out of capacity to push, but someone pushes you out on a pyre, and then they use archery bows with like arrows lit on fire to light the pyre on fire, and then you kind of will go out on the ocean somewhere and sink and be eaten by fish.
Seems very expensive.
No, it's the cheapest way you could do it. Literally, all you need is you as a dead body, right?
Okay.
Simples. You can sort that out right here in the kitchen. And then you just get a few logs so that it's a flotation kind of thing, but it's a natural flotation.
And where do we get the logs from?
I believe that they grow from the ground. Anyway, so you sort that out. And then a few logs isn't going to cost that much money at all compared to a coffin and a fucking funeral, and you've got to get the hors d'oeuvres for the wake after and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and you put kindling around the body, and then...
Just remind me never to ask you to be a funeral planner. Hors d'oeuvres.
He's dead, get over it. That's what I'll shout.
Fucking hell. No,
I've spoken at 2 funerals though.
You have?
Yeah, I'm bloody good at it.
That's good.
Can make people laugh, can make them cry. I'm a jack of all trades.
She's a woman of them all. Right, we've done over an hour.
Okay,
Yeah.
I apologise.
Are you happy?
Never.
Do you know what I was thinking? Which would have been exciting, but we might have screwed it up.
What?
Maybe we'll just fix it.
What were you thinking first? Because who cares if we're a little bit...
This is
over
the 68th episode.
Ooh.
And I wanted you to be episode 69.
Oh.
just because I knew that it would make you laugh.
Can we just do a part 2?
No, but I'll just record another one and I'll make that one 68 and then this can come out as 69. But the
Yay.
problem is that we made no reference to it right up until
Okay,
now.
well then let us go over a little bit over now, and I just need to tell you why I don't do 69.
Go for gold!
The reason why I don't like doing 69 is because every time I seem to do it, someone always bursts in. My whole life, every time I've done 69, my parents have accidentally walked in, my friend who's meant to be coming to my house 2 hours later turns up. No one's actually ever caught me in the act of doing it, but every time I'm in the position, there's a fucking knock at my door. And now I just don't like doing it. I don't like the idea of it. It freaks me out, not because of the idea of crushing someone to death. I'm quite happy with that. It's literally just the fact that I know that life has this sick joke on me that 69 means I've got a visitor.
Do you enjoy the action though? Do you wish you could do it more if you didn't have this curse, or have you?
It's too much to concentrate on. I'm trying to do my best to someone, but then I'm also trying to enjoy what they're doing to me. It's just, can we just do one thing at a time? Why is this generation so rushed? You know, just take each task as it comes. All right, I'll give you a blowjob, then you let me out.
Each task as it comes. What a perfect way to end. Thanks, Anna.
Bye.
Say hi to your mum.